Hi there, welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to my artist analysis of Green Day. Part 1 of this video essay may have been quite long, but that was for a reason. Because the band's history and musical stylings just have so many facets to them. And that did not change after American Idiot, the last studio album of Green Day's I discussed in part 1, even in spite of the maturation the band members went through and experimentation they did with musical styles from then on out. To know what I mean, you're gonna have to watch this video the whole way through and be able to answer the trivia question in my final thoughts section. But don't be so quick. Actually watch the video to learn all about all of the music on all the studio albums Green Day has released since American Idiot. Green Day's 8th studio album, 21st Century Breakdown, is a rock opera just like its predecessor, American Idiot. Common themes that come up throughout the album include politically motivated anger and the supposed manipulation of the media, politics, religion, and authority figures. Billie Joe Armstrong originally wrote around 45 songs for this album, but obviously they had to be narrowed down to the 18 tracks that exist on it today. 21st Century Breakdown reached the top of both the Billboard 200 Albums chart and the Top Alternative Albums chart and was certified platinum by the RIAA. The album openly criticizes the then-President George W. Bush by telling the story of a young couple named Christian and Gloria living in Detroit, Michigan, and coping with the challenges of the Bush era, such as 9/11 in the Iraq War, among others. The story divides the album's tracks into 3 acts: Heroes and Cons, Charlatans and Saints, and Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. The first single released off of 21st Century Breakdown was a protest song called Know Your Enemy. Know Your Enemy was certified gold by the RIAA and was one of Green Day's only 3 songs to top Billboard's rock songs, alternative songs, and mainstream rock tracks charts at the same time. According to Billboard, the song's lyrics are just as politically charged as last time on American Idiot and has a modern rock radio-ready chorus. The next single released off of 21st Century Breakdown was another one of my personal favorites, 21 Guns. This anti-war anthem addresses the topic of patriotism, with its title being a reference to the 21 Gun Salute. 21 Guns is Green Day's most recent #1 song on the Billboard Hot 100, but it broke a record for Green Day by reaching number 22, the highest a song of theirs had reached since Wake Me Up When September Ends. The song was nominated for a Grammy for Best Rock Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal and Best Rock Song in 2010. After 21 Guns came the release of the single East Jesus Nowhere. The song, whose title comes from a phrase from the 2007 film Juno, is a commentary on fundamentalist, organized religion and was written by Billie Joe Armstrong after Mike Dirnt attended a church service where his friend's baby was baptized. East Jesus Nowhere peaked at number 17 on the Billboard Alternative Airplay chart. The 4th single released off of 21st Century Breakdown was its title track. Much of the song is about Billie Joe Armstrong's personal life and musical influences. The song's opening lyric, "Born into Nixon, I was raised in hell," refers to Armstrong being born in the year 1972 when Richard Nixon was president. The lyric, "We are the class of 13," refers to how his son would graduate high school in the year 2013. The lyrics also contain references to such songs as "Working Class Hero" by John Lennon and "Born to Run" by Bruce Springsteen. The 5th and final single released off of 21st Century Breakdown was Last of the American Girls. Although the single was released on March 22, 2010, it didn't start playing on the radio until May 11th. Nonetheless, Last of the American Girls peaked at number 26 on the alternative rock chart. It's been theorized that the song was written by and about Adrienne Armstrong, Billie Joe Armstrong's wife. But either way, Last of the American Girls is a rebel song about a girl who refuses to conform to the standards American girls have been expected to meet for such a long time, much to the upset of those around her. In 2012, touring guitarist Jason White became an official member of Green Day, making them a quartet for their 9th studio album, Uno. This album was part of a series of sequential albums released by Green Day entitled Uno, Dos, Tre that were all released within a 1-year period. After the punk rock political concept albums American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown, Green Day decided to try something different for Uno and incorporate elements of the power pop genre. Uno's lead single, a personal Green Day favorite of mine, was Oh Love. Ironically, Oh Love is the closing track of Uno. The sound of Oh Love is reminiscent of some of Green Day's older music, such as that on Dookie and Nimrod, but with a power pop mix to it. The song was praised by critics for its musical style and tone, but also criticized for being quote-unquote middle ground. Nonetheless, Oh Love debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Rock Songs chart and peaked at number 97 on the Billboard Hot 100. The next single released off of Uno was Kill the DJ. As if experimenting with power pop weren't enough, for this song, Green Day made a departure by taking influences from dance music for Kill the DJ. The song uses a 4-on-the-floor rhythm and used, quote-unquote, imagery of waterboarding and torture straight into the dance club. It was later revealed that the DJ this song refers to is not a literal DJ, but a politician or other influential figure. The third and final song released off of Uno was Let Yourself Go. Like Oh Love, Let Yourself Go reverts to the musical stylings of Dookie. But unlike Uno's other 2 singles, Let Yourself Go stuck to Green Day's traditional punk sound rather than experimenting with power pop or dance music. The song peaked at number 13 on the Billboard Rock Airplay chart. Hence its name, Dos was the middle installment of Green Day's Uno, Dos, Tre series. This, Green Day's 10th studio album, was the album in which Green Day tried their hand at garage rock after trying out power pop on Uno. Of the 3 albums in its series, Dos is the one that generally received the most positive reviews from critics. The track Amy was written in remembrance of the late singer Amy Winehouse. There was only one official single on Dos, Stray Heart, and it was only even released as a single in Europe and Australia. Since the song was never released on vinyl, Stray Heart's place on vinyl was given to Tre's Drama Queen, allowing the song to appear on 2 albums. But I'm not going to talk about Drama Queen right now because that's on Tre. Anyways, Dos peaked at number 9 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart and at 175 on the year-end Billboard 200 Albums chart. The third and final installment of the Uno, Dos, Tre series sought to blend the power pop style of Uno with the garage rock sounds of Dos to create more of a stadium rock sound. Tre was the last album on which Jason White played, and the last one produced by Rob Cavallo, who'd been producing all of Green Day's albums since Dookie. The album peaked at number 13 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart. There were 2 singles released off of Trey, and the first of these was The Forgotten. The song appears in the soundtrack of the Twilight Saga, Breaking Dawn Part 2, which was perfect for the film given its power ballad melody. The only other single released off of Trey was X-Kid. The song was written after one of the band members had lost a close friend to suicide, but was written in such a way that it could be about all of Generation X, or those born between 1960 and 1980, like Armstrong and my parents. X-Kid peaked at number 36 on the Billboard Rock Airplay list. Green Day's 12th studio album, Revolution Radio, was a self-produced effort on Green Day's part. It's their first album since 2000's Warning to not have a parental advisory label, although one of the songs does contain profanity. By the way, check out my recent video, Parental Advisory Label Explained, to learn all about what that label really means. But anyway, back to Revolution Radio. The album generally received positive reviews from critics and debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart. The first single released off of Revolution Radio was Bang Bang, which also happens to be the title of a 2014 single sung by Jessie J, Ariana Grande, and Nicki Minaj. The lyrics touch on the theme of mass shootings in the United States and is told from the perspective of one of said shooters, with the title referring to the sound of gunshots. The song is essentially the perfect combination of the musical stylings of Kerplunk and Dookie and the politically motivated lyrics of American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown. Bang Bang reached number 1 on the Billboard Rock Airplay chart and number 16 on the year-end Rock Airplay chart. The next single released off of Revolution Radio was Still Breathing. This emotionally dark song is essentially about finding strength in the face of hardship and tough times, with Armstrong's goal being to write a more quote-unquote serious song that audiences could see themselves in. The song reached number 1 on the Billboard Rock Airplay chart and peaked at number 1 on the Hot Rock and Alternative Songs chart. The third and final single released off of Revolution Radio was its title track. The lyrics perfectly encapsulate all of the political themes that have come up not only in the album, but in so much of Green Day's music. That is, themes of propaganda, political unrest, and deviance from the status quo. Revolution Radio peaked at number 21 on the Billboard Alternative Airplay chart and at number 22 on the Rock Airplay chart. For Green Day's most recent album to date, Father of All Mother 16 songs were originally recorded, but this ultimately had to be narrowed down to 10. It only released 2 singles, and the first was its title track. In the words of Billie Joe Armstrong, the song is about making people feel bad, with lyrics that describe internal battles with paranoia and other feelings brought on by someone else. Father of All Mother is a perfect recipe of dirty guitars, grooving bass, rolling drums, garage rock and dance sounds, and filtered and falsetto vocals. The song peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Rock Airplay chart, and the album peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart. The only other single released off of Father All Mother Oh Yeah, was co-written by the band's 3 members. The chorus samples the song Do You Want to Touch Me by Joan Jett and Gary Glitter, which is why the title was changed to what it is after originally being called Bulletproof Backpack. The song was a covert commentary on Glitter's sexual abuse allegations, but more obviously comments on celebrity culture and the polarization of society. The song reached number 1 on the Billboard Rock Airplay chart and peaked at number 11 on the year-end chart. Thank you all so much for watching. I know this video and the last one were kind of long, but as you should have learned, Green Day has a long history and a complex musical style and lyrical messages. Green Day is the epitome of the music of America's counterculture, and although they're not as big today, even in the rock and alternative industries, they've established quite the legacy, and even called themselves God's favorite band for their 2017 Greatest Hits album. Remember how I said I want you to prove you watched the video by answering a trivia question like I've been doing a lot as of recent? Well, here it is. What is the title of the Green Day song that was written on the subject of mass shootings, told from the perspective of the shooter? Also, let me know in the comments, do you prefer Green Day's earlier or later music? What's your favorite album of theirs? If you found this video enjoyable and helpful and educational, subscribe to my channel to get more of it, tap the bell to know when it's coming, and tune in next time for my next video, History and Evolution of Cartoon Network.